Today we're talking about mastering the mind, and this is really interesting, and especially for people who have started this path, because we keep getting distracted. What happens to us? Why do we need to master our mind? What are we? Who are we? So first and foremost, the most important thing spiritual people forget, or anybody forgets, that we are not who we think we are. We are impermanent, right? Would you all agree? Would you all agree that one day we're going to die?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yes.
Agree? But what do we think? Most of us think we're eternal. In this body as our human personality. So what starts to rule us? Our desires, our likes and our dislikes. People affect us. We care too much what people think of us. It's good to care what people think of you, but not to live your life on others' belief. Because what happens one day, they tell you this and you agree with them. Next day, they change their mind and you're lost again. And we depend on each other. And that's how we know we are one. And this is the great learning, that literally we are spirit. And now science has proved it, which I love, because many years ago, when I first started teaching 30 years ago, and I said to my master, oh my God, every time I give a talk on reincarnation, people look at me and go, don't believe in this, and da da da, and I know it's there. He said, Nalanie, don't worry. In 15 years, this is going to be proven. And it has been. Then he talked about the yoga sciences, and the first years that I talked about yoga, chitta, vritti, nirodha, which is the restraint of the mind stuff, is yoga. People didn't know. I was talking double Dutch. Today you have mindfulness. Everybody seems to know about the mind. Isn't it wonderful? We have progressed. But we're taking some of this progress to a very commercial level. Because now that we know about the mind, we want to be famous, and we've got thousands of teachers out there competing with each other. That when you're competing with each other, you've lost your sense of peace again. Do you know? My master used to say, gold cage, silver cage, still a cage. So how do we master our mind? How do we become free? Because it seems like everything we get into, it becomes, we want to be the best in it, and we should be the best in everything we do. We should be. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna talks to Arjuna and he says, wherever you find excellence, you find me. But what is excellence? We always look at somebody else and think their excellence is our excellence. We missed the plot. We lost it. Excellence is who you are in your personality, in your body. So the first job any of us has to do as spiritual, on this spiritual journey, is really understand ourselves. And that's where the mastering of the mind comes from. Because if you don't know yourself, no matter how much you try to meditate, to do things, if you don't know yourself, you're constantly trying to change somebody else. Let me give you an example, okay? And this is from the philosopher Spinoza. I don't know if you read him, but I think he's amazing. 17th century Jewish philosopher. He was excommunicated from his from the Jewish church because he was so different. He said that this God or this energy was everywhere, and that you would find it in the trees and everywhere else. And they go, no, you can't say this. And you can imagine the 17th century, poor guy was really crucified, but he was so truthful. He said, what we need to do is actually what the Yoga Sutras teach, is to master our minds and understand first, gain knowledge. Knowledge is extremely important. Our worlds are very small in our families and our work. We think we're so big in a small place. No, expand that knowledge first. When the more you expand your world, the more you expand inside. And he gave this example. He said, for example, you go into a forest, right? And you know there is a lion in the forest. And the lion chases you, and you run, and you get maybe scratched and hurt. And you go home, and what do? You go, it's all the lion's fault. It's all the lion's fault. It's all the lion's fault. So we get agitated, hurt, angry. It's all the lion's fault. But is it really the lion's fault? What's the lion's job? The lion's going to look for food. You're going to go into his domain. What is he going to do? He's going to eat you as food. So, is it the lion's fault? No. We have to look at ourselves. You know the character of the lion. Why are you blaming the lion? The lion's just doing his job. You have to look at yourself. And again, my master said, and so many of you know this, he said, you point one finger out, 4 more pointing at you, there you've got a gun, and look at the trigger where it's facing. So, the first step we need to know is our nature and the nature of those who surround us. Another story that I love, it's, there is this frog, and there is this, it's not a locust, I keep saying it's a locust, it's a scorpion. Yeah, there's a scorpion, and he wants to get across the river because all his family is on the other side of the river. So he talks to the frog, and he said, frog, you can get across the river, you swim, I don't swim, can you take me across? And the frog goes, you think I'm crazy? You're a scorpion, you're gonna bite me, and I'll drown. And he goes, no, frog, why should I sting you? Why should I bite you? Why should I hurt you? You are the one who's going to take me across. I need you. I need you. I swear I'm not going to sting you. So the frog says, okay, jump on my back. So they start to go across the river. And guess what? 3/4 way, scorpion stings. And the frog is dying. And the frog said, but you promised, I'm helping you. How can you do this to me? And the scorpion goes, oh, what can I do? It's my nature. And they both drown. I love this story because many times as spiritual people and yogis, we think we can save the world, or sometimes we think we can save everyone. But sometimes you have to understand the nature of the person, and you can only understand the nature of somebody else if you can accept them for who they are. It's not about judgment. It's just, okay, this person has the nature to sting everybody. So what is your next thing to do? And this person that stings comes to you and says, I need your help, I need your help, I need your help, I need your help. But you know the nature. What would you do? Most yogi goes, oh, let me help them, poor thing. We need to do that. Maybe you can try and see what happens. If you have a horse today, could you change it? Can you change it into a dog? You can't. Accept that. Accept that. Either you live with it or you decide to go. But accept that. And don't try to change anybody because you can't. They can change themselves. So this is just telling you about mastering your mind, because we sit here in meditation and thinking, okay, I'm going to still the mind. And yes, it's a great practice. But unless you deal with certain circumstances in your life, unless you deal with your emotional issues, unless you can watch yourself and know what makes you blow up and what triggers you and whether you're doing it for greed or for love, it doesn't matter the reason, but just know it. If you know it, you're truthful to yourself. You have to be truthful to yourself. And there's nothing greater than truthfulness. And it's not good or bad, It's just truthful. And that's really, and the problem with us human beings, we can't master our mind, is because we're so scared of our own truth. It's like the scorpion, right? Scorpion, good or bad? No, it's just the nature of the scorpion. So if you're going to work with a scorpion, know you're going to get stung. And don't worry about it. I know I'm going to get stung, but it's not going to bother me. I'm detached from it. That is the non-attachment. Do you understand? We talk about non-attachment in yoga. So, oh, I know this person is this character. I still work with them because even if they scream at me, I'm not going to go home and suffer and cry, why did you do this? I'll be sad. Of course, we're human, accept that. Even Jesus cried tears of blood at the Garden of Gethsemane when he knew that Judas had betrayed him and he was going to be killed. Even he cried. It's okay to be sad, but you're not going to get your mind rolling. You'll understand that it is the flow of nature. We are one. We're all connected. Guess how we influence each other. And going back to Spinoza, here's the wonderful example he gives again, which I really love. And he talks about a leaf. You see a leaf, right? Where does the leaf come from? Where does the leaf come from? You see a leaf from the tree. Okay, so you look at the tree. Where does the tree come from? The ground. The ground. Where does it come from? The earth. Correct. And so we are all, correct, one connected with the other. Touch anything in your life and it's connected with something else. So this is how we know we're one. The problem human beings have is dealing with our emotions. We let our emotions take us over and then we lose this feeling of oneness. So the reason to master your mind is so that you understand that human beings store a myriad of emotions and energies. Some are quite sick, some are beautiful. Detach, accept them as they are. Choose to be really important with like-minded people. All the great saints and sages tell us that. Be with people who think the same way. Why? Raise your energy. So many people come, Nalanie, you tell me that, but in my home people don't think the same way. Be patient, be an example, do not be a lecturer or a teacher in your home. Thank you, understand that. It's true. I went through that with my late husband. Like I said, in the early years, I thought I knew it all. You should do this and you should do this. And my son put me straight. It was my son who put me straight. And the moment I stopped and just accepted and loved him for who he was, he changed. He changed. Because I became the example of acceptance and love. How can you expect anybody to understand you if you are telling them that you are better than them? It doesn't flow with the teaching. Because none of us, we're just different. Like I said, we just have to understand the difference. And you decide, do you want to accept the difference or do you want to leave the difference? Nobody can make that choice for you. You have to make it yourself. In my case, we were so different, but I wanted to stay because I knew I loved my husband so much. And I knew, you see, I knew the highest truth, that the relationship was there because it was to push me into total acceptance and unconditional love for him. I needed him to be so tough on me. And in fact, I remember when he was dying, I said to him, oh no. And he goes, what? I said, who's gonna knock me down when I get too big in my head? Because he'd be the first one to tell me, and I go, thank you. He said, you're doing it again now. You're acting that way. I loved it because it was like my teacher now. He thought I was his teacher. Well, he was my teacher too, because we all have our individual kind of moods. So to master your mind, first and foremost, understand who you are. Are you moody? Then you can understand why there's so much trouble at home. Are you controlling? You can understand why there is so much trouble at home. Do you want always things to go your way? You can understand why there's so much trouble at home. That's where it starts from. It's all about you. Or did somebody else come into that picture? I want you to do this because this is the way I like it. Oh, but I like this glass here. You know, I see people that argue about these things. And then, why are you arguing about a glass? How spiritual does that make you look? Tell him put a glass wherever he wants. No big deal. That's the amount of your spirituality. How is your partner going to learn from that when you're so petty? Do you understand? Pettiness is not greatness. You cannot learn this in books. Spiritual knowledge you can study, you can read the books, and they'll help you, because the best way to study it is take one sutra or one thing that you love and go over it again and again in your head till you know it really well. But what do we do as spiritual practitioners? One book and another book. And in the beginning, you need to do that, all right? In the beginning of your practices, you need to just gobble all that you can learn. But then when you come to a point where you're starting to feel overwhelmed and confused because there's too much information out there, stop. That's your sign. Stop. Because now you got all the information and your soul is telling you, you just need to live what you've learned. You just need to live what you learned. And what is required if you really want to know the truth and want to know God or want to know your mission here on earth, whatever you want to call it, or connect with that one that's all of us, then you need quiet time. There's no other way. You need quiet time to watch yourself. You need quiet time Please put your palms facing upwards. Close your eyes. Feel the energy in the palms of your hands and open your eyes and just stare in front of you. Even a little quiet time in the company of the wise raises the energies to your heart. And you think of nothing but to be still and feel this. The medicine, it is medicine for our souls. I've said again and again, we even need our phones to be charged. We're electrical beings. We need to charge to the one great conscious power. And then we can be instruments of this great conscious power. It's conscious. Science says it's conscious. We just tap it. It's right here. It's right now. It's nowhere but inside of you. It's not something anybody can give you. It is who we, each one of us, we're already that. We're already that. And we just have to tap in. We can't tap in when the mind is all over the place. It's restless. And how do you know it's restless? I found out every time I need, I don't have enough, my early years of practice. Why am I so upset today? Because, I wanted my husband to do that. Because I wanted this. I wasn't happy because I gave so much at the shop and I didn't get anything in return. I want to satisfy me. I was miserable. It was so good. don't want anything anymore. But then it was really meaning it sincerely. It took a few years because, the body is very material. It still likes all this stuff. But with a practice, as Master Shivananda tells us, Master Shivananda is the master of our master. He says, with the practice, all these things leave you. Because why? When you desire that one thing that is above everything else, that is spirit, that is untangible with the material world. It's not tangible in that world, but it's tangible with your inner world. When you touch that spirit one time, just one time, there is nothing so delicious as that all the other ones fade into the background. So what happens? This was a practice. The more you touch that bliss through meditation or your personal practice, and maybe something that you liked in the past and you really used to collect or whatever, you suddenly realize, okay, very pretty. I have it, great. If I don't have it, great. No big deal. That's exactly how you feel. I have it at home. And that's what all our homes should be filled with, right? That's why we need to master our mind, so our homes become heaven for other people. When they walk in, they feel it. They feel it. And if they feel it, they receive it. If they receive it, they want it for themselves. If they want it for themselves, they will do the work to get there. That is the idea. That is inspiration. And if they get there, then we can all laugh and dance together. And this is the idea. But to master the mind is not an easy feat. And it takes many years. It takes many years and patience with yourself. Don't give up. Don't give up. And no, have those days when you get up in the morning, like I always tell everybody to say, I love my life, thank you. And feel the rays of light coming to your heart. Feel them. You can. When you focus, you do. You almost feel like somebody's sending you so much love and you go, what are you? What is this? Well, I love it. Keep it coming. Okay, so try it with me now. Okay, all of you there too. Let's take a deep breath and exhale. I love my life. And just close your eyes. Just close your eyes and feel that heart, the heart chakra, obviously. And see rays of light enter. Thank you. And then, thank you. And then you feel that and you want to work on yourself. You want to. Then the things that you want outside are not so important anymore. That is important. That connection is important. And when you get that connection, everything you want is yours anyway. Because the more you chase after something, the less you get it. When you stop chasing it, it comes. It comes. And that is, and so this is the connection. That's why we're mastering our mind. This spiritual part of us, this spirit in us is calling us. It's calling us. And we think it's all about doing stuff. It is, in a way. But it's doing stuff with depth. It's doing stuff with energy. Our guru used to say, Hattamekam manames ram. In the hand, work. In the mind, Ram. Ram is one of the Indian symbols for a divine human being. Because he was a king on earth and he was a perfected human being, a good son, a good brother, a good husband. He had all the attributes of divinity in his soul, in his body. So this is how we raise our vibration. So when we raise our vibration, or nowadays people are so into frequencies, right? Somebody asked me yesterday, Nalanie, is it true we have different frequencies? I said, of course. Of course, that's why you can walk into a room. We call it nowadays it's frequencies, and 30 years ago was vibration. You know, I said, of course, you walk in a room, and if the frequency is low, you can feel it. It's negative. You can walk in a room and feel everybody in that room is very materialistic. You can walk into the room and feel there is love. You can feel the frequency, and the highest frequency, of course, is love. Because that's when you vibrate here, and you can feel it when you're in love. That's why when people are in love, how do they look? Glowing, right? But you don't have to be in love with a person. You just have to be in love with life from within your own heart. When you're in love with life, when you're in love with everyone, and the world is not an easy place, so we can't be idealistic too. We have to accept it is not an easy place to live in, and it will give us trouble. But the problems shouldn't bring us down. We should look at it as challenges. As spiritual people, this is how we change the chip in our brain. Okay, this happened and that happened, and did somebody call me this person and this person? Yeah. Welcome to the challenge. Now you know how you get through this. Now you know how strong you are. Without the challenge, how do you know? Of course it's hard. Of course you'll cry. Of course you want to shake and say, why me? Just bite the bullet and get through it, because you will. You will, with the help of the divine energy in you, when you actually charge yourself every day. When something comes and really breaks you, you can do it. You think you can't, but you can. You can, and that's when you go, hey, this is pretty cool. I have so much pain, but I can do this. And by me doing it, I'm an example for others to show them, the spirit is in them. So if I don't want to do it for myself, let me do it for my family. Let me do it for my friends. Show them it can be done. Because nowadays people are too stressed out. Everybody is so stressed. And life has no meaning. They're like robots. They go to work, 9 to 5, come home, cook dinner. Everybody's too tired. Everybody's complaining. You didn't pick up the rubbish, or you didn't do this, or you didn't do that. And da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Where is there any joy in life? Where is there joy to sit down and say, come, let's sit and talk. Let's chat. Let's talk about the day. Let's just be. Let's just have no rush. Now, when you practice let's talk about what is important. We're getting older. We're all getting older. And you notice, right? Haven't you? Time is moving faster than it's ever done. Have you noticed that? And the days are going so quick, faster than ever. And I believe that's the state of our mind, right? Because as we think it becomes, if we're all one, what are people doing today? What's going on? Too much thinking. Too much da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Talking to machines all day long. So everything is going so quick, so quick, so quick. Whereas when we talk to each other and enjoy the time, there's something you go home to that's fulfilling, that means something. You all know that. You've had meaningful conversations. You come home and you feel great. You go to an evening, you talk rubbish, you come home, you feel a bit vomity. I call it vomity. Do you feel that? It's a lot of rubbish. I'd rather be home. Yeah, I'd rather be home. That's why people love animals so much these days, especially now in this generation. More and more people want pets. You know why? They don't fight back. They just love you unconditionally. But we can do that with human beings by not expecting them to change and mastering our own minds. So, practical. Tell yourself. Ask yourself, how do I want to live my life? Ask yourself every morning, how do I want to live my life? Many people now, I don't know what my mission is. I told my master the same thing. I don't know what I should do with my life. After I had that big awakening, and he said, meditate, love everything you do, and purify the mind so easily, he said it. Took me years to learn it. But at least I followed that path. So when I read a book and it disturbed my mind, I wouldn't read it. I took some courses that I really loved. I think I only took really about 3. The rest I don't know, people gave me diplomas because they thought I knew the work anyway. I didn't have to take the course. I got the diploma because of my life's work. Because when you work for the sake of others, you need a little bit of knowledge. When talking about spiritual knowledge, okay, I'm not talking about material knowledge or being a history teacher or a geography teacher or any of that. I'm talking about spiritual knowledge. When you really know the foundations, and this is why I love to teach the Raj Yoga Sutras of Sri Patanjali or the Bhagavad Gita, those are the foundation, or even the New Testament foundations. When you have the foundations, then you work slowly to build your house inside. You work slowly. There's no rush. You can't. Even if you do want to, the more you want to rush it, it just doesn't work. You just really have to be so sincere in yourself. What do you want? What is your goal? For me, it was simple. I wanted to know God. I wanted to be good. I don't want to hurt anybody. Simple. Simple. So I watched myself. Every time I cause pain, shut that mouth. Or if you've done it, say sorry. Done. Why wouldn't you say sorry? Ego gets in the way. Watch that ego. If I didn't do anything wrong, I won't say sorry. Oh, I should say sorry. No, why should I give somebody sorry when they've done something wrong? Do you see? It's balance. It's knowing where you are. And that's empowering yourself and not judging yourself because you know where you're coming from. You know you're coming from love. And when you know you're coming from love, not judgment, you know you'll be guided as what to do and how to treat a situation. It's like the story of the frog and the locust, right? No guilt.
Scorpion.
A scorpion. Actually, I keep saying thank you. What is it? What is it, Nalanie? Yeah. So mastering. Okay. So we have different states of mind. The first state of mind I'd like to talk about is called Shipta. Shipta means the mind is very noisy. It's very restless. And why is the mind very restless? Because it has a lot of desires, a lot of things that I want to do. I have to have a da 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 da. This one has it, and what? And that mind cannot meditate because you try and sit down with all those desires, and guess what's going to come up? Noise. Just noise. Okay, then you have a second type of mind, and that's called Muda, which is a mind that is dumb. Everything to be done for you, feed you. I can't do it, so you come and do it for me. Dumb, apathetic. No. But if I can't. Laziness. Don't want to do it yourself. Laziness, that kind of mind. That somebody, and that kind of mind cannot also do it because it's constantly depending on somebody else to make it happy. And you know what happens when you depend on somebody to make you happy? You will definitely be miserable. Can't. You have to be happy on your own inner energy. Okay, so then you have another kind of mind, which is what most spiritual people have, which is, it's in between. They have days when you're calm. And there are days when you think everything you've learned's gone to bits. It's just disappeared. It's not there anymore. It's gone. And you go, but I knew this so well last year. What's wrong with me? Why am I so anxious? Why am I so angry? What's wrong with me? Right? Now, this is the state most yogis or practitioners are in. And when you're in this state, it's because you're not giving enough time to your practice. You are giving it hearsay, or you'll turn on a video and you turn on your iPad or your computer and you listen to somebody talk, but they're doing the talking. They have the knowledge. You may be hearing 2 or 3 sentences and you think, oh, I know it all. But you didn't do any work. You're on yourself. You listen, but you didn't do the work. It did the work for you. So you've got to do it yourself, okay? And that's your sign. If you keep going, fluctuating, I need to practice more. And if the mind is really crazy, go to a hatha yoga class. And after a bit of physical activity, then you have a deep relaxation. It really does help to balance your hormonal level and help you at the end of the class to feel good about yourself. As Dr. Marla Cunningham says, when you do a integral yoga, hatha yoga class, you get DOSE, D-O-S-E. Your dopamine levels increase, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. So, wow, medicine. It's medicine. Why? Because we do breathing in the class, we do deep relaxation in the class, and we do the physical part of the class first. So you are working the whole system, body, mind, and spirit. And that's why we have the hatha yoga, the asanas. It's really for that. But once your asana is steady, once the mind is steady, then you get into right away. You don't even need the pranayama anymore. You don't need any of the stuff. You don't need the mantra. In fact, they hold you back. Oh, I'm doing pranayama, but I don't need to do that anymore. I'll do that after my meditation because I can just sit and I'm quiet, right? But you have to have the grounding. You really have to have no anger towards anybody. You need to forgive all the harm that's been done to you. So you see why I say it takes a lot of time? You really have to fill your heart with compassion for all those who hurt you. It doesn't mean you have to be around them. It doesn't mean that. In fact, you shouldn't be around them. But you need to forgive them in your heart, really. And that takes years. So once all that is done, then the mind is quiet. The mind is quiet. And then the mind will just hold on to beautiful concepts. It's kind of like Les was saying, because he meditates here every morning for an hour and sometimes an hour and a half. And he was saying he loves Taoism. So he'll take a book of Tao and he'll read something about water and strength and spirit. And then he will meditate on spirit and water. So you see, your mind's going to the higher elements of the one, rather than your emotional disturbance of you. Do you see the difference? There's no more me there. It's like, this is really delicious. I'm going into understanding the flow of water. Yes, it's the softest of elements and it's the strongest of elements, isn't it? You get a flood and everything is gone. Look at Pakistan now. And yet it's so gentle and soft. It goes all through your hand, right? So you see, that is the same way with spirit. The spirit that's within is the same. So, and then when you apply it to your life, like for example, I took 6 weeks off this summer to be with my son and daughter-in-law who I haven't seen for 2 years in Hong Kong, and my 2 grandchildren. The first day they came, they were a bit from Hong Kong, a little bit anxious, right? Because I don't know if you know what's happening in Hong Kong with COVID. I mean, they still have masks on everywhere. They still have to quarantine. Kids have to go to school with masks all day long. So you can imagine when they come here, it's, they even said, Gran, you might have to get used to us. We may be a bit paranoid for the first few days because we're used to everybody wearing masks. And so anyway, so they were a bit anxious the first day, and I said to my grandkids, I said, okay, to my whole family actually, I said, if anything goes wrong, we're just gonna say we're flowing with the Tao. Because I'd heard it from him that morning. You see, you hear things, flow with the Tao. So I go, we flow with the Tao. So all trip, and anything went wrong, it was, Granny, we're flowing with the Tao. See, the moment you say it, what happens? Changes the picture. This is how simple it is to master the mind. So this is the secret. It's simple. May take a long time, but it's simple. The non-attachment part is the difficult part, but the practicing is simple. And you have to tell yourself, it's simple. Something goes wrong, this too shall pass. Okay, I'm agitated now. Okay. By tomorrow morning, I'll be fine. I'm really angry. Go into a room, lock yourself in for 15, 20 minutes. I'm really angry. Tell yourself you get sick of your voice, and then you'll quiet down. Work with yourself. Do the work. Nobody can do it for you. And if this is where you are. And if this place is uncomfortable for you, for example, then you say to yourself, I'm not comfortable, but I'm here. So I know I'm not comfortable, I'm here. I'm going to make the best of this moment because now I know what makes me uncomfortable. I'm learning a new lesson. Don't take it as, I'm uncomfortable, I have to get out. No, I'm learning a new lesson. It's too much for me. I am not coming back again. Do you know what I'm saying? Oh, if you're comfortable, I am very comfortable with myself now. I want more of this. I am definitely coming back again. Know yourself. There's no judgment. There's no wrong or right. There's no judgment. You just got to follow your movements. Flow with them. It will tell you. And sometimes we're not ready for certain things. And sometimes we are ready for them. And sometimes we just need to hear it to remember we are spirit. I don't know how many people I've seen in my office, one session, and they'll say, oh, Nalanie, I always knew this when I was a child. What happened? You just got lost on the way. And you come just to get back on track. Just get back on track. I'll just get back on track. And then you pick up something, anything that is positive. Like I said, even one line. Let's see what I'm going to pick up here. The important thing is to be ready at any moment to sacrifice what you are for what you could become. Isn't that beautiful? Charles Dubois. What is to give light must endure burning. Viktor Frankl. Have you read his book? It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. How he could got through that. Healing is a matter of time, but it is sometimes also a matter of opportunity. Hippocrates wrote that. The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. Oh, these are little sayings that I wrote many years ago. This is a very old book, but I, like in my early practice, when I really like something, I'll just write it down and then keep looking at it. It's really old, this book. And this is a really simple one, which I've always loved because it keeps the mind intact, very simply, very simply. It's not fancy. Spirituality is not fancy. It is actually very simple. Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as you can. John Wesley. Yeah, happiness is not having what you want, but wanting what you have. You see, you know it. So when things go wrong, when you're like, oh, I really want this, but I can't have it, you go, no, happiness is not that. Happiness is wanting what I do have. I have this. Now how am I going to appreciate it? Or how can I make it better? Or how can I make it more excellent? That is the challenge. Let me go as Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, we are here to be the best we can. That is the challenge. God is seen in excellence, he says. Wherever you find excellence, you find me. So whatever you do, if you're looking after a pet, if you're cooking a delicious cake, and you do it with love, it will become excellent, because it's already excellent by the love you put in it. Do you see whether it comes out delicious or not? The action was excellent. You love, oh, I worked so hard to build this cake, but I did it with so much love it didn't turn out. But 99% of the time it does turn out beautifully. I'm just doing that 1% for people who are skeptics. So this is exactly what mastering the mind is, right? So many people get so discouraged, they start meditating and they think they're holier than thou. My master says some of the people that you see meditating can be the worst people. It's like prayer, like everything you do. It's not about the outside. It's about your inside. And when your inside is clear, you're at peace, that's all. How nice not to be wanting anything or needing anything. It's so exciting. But for many yogis, there is a journey through this spiritual path, which can also be a little dangerous, and this is, a lot of spiritual practitioners have told me this, okay? And it happens, I went through it myself as well. There comes a time when you see the world as it is, and the pain that's here, and the suffering that's here, and because you're spiritual, you go, you know what, I don't want anything anymore. I don't care if I die. Also doesn't work, because we're meant to be joyous while we're on this planet. But there's many spiritual people go through that. And I said, don't worry, it's the dark night of the soul. So please at this time be around a lot of spiritual people, a lot of people who will uplift you, a lot of, just be in that energy field, because it does feel there's nothing I want anymore, so why am I here? Sri Patanjali tells us at the final state, there's nothing you desire, nothing you want. But because there's nothing you want and desire, you're free. So what do you want? Simple things to keep yourself interested. Then you go into service. I know what I want. I want to serve this because I'm useful. You go into useful mode. So long as I'm useful, I'm needed in this world. So you go into useful mode. And that service becomes pure. There's nothing else in it. Because if you didn't serve, you really would have nothing to do, because there's nothing you want for yourself anymore. So that's when you see everybody as your family and everybody as your home. You get that? But that takes time. So you have to go through that period. And yes, the world is not very pleasant at the moment. We know. Look at everything that's happening. Wow, what a challenge for all of us to uplift others. Great time for us spiritual beings to be around. All of us in this room. Some of you I don't know, but 90% of you I know. Gone through hell in your life. One time or the other. Some more than us. Gone through it. You've done it. You can be the example. Say, you know what? I did it. You can do it too. That's all people need to hear. That's the example. That is the spiritual example. They don't want you to lecture them for 10,000 hours and tell them how to be. It's not up to you. You don't know what their mission is. The divine is in them. We have no right to tell anybody what to do. If we don't like something in somebody, then you know that you don't like it, so you walk away. But don't expect to stay there and expect them to be hammered by you every day and like you more. They're not going to like you more. Every day you're controlling. Oh, but I'm doing it because it's the best for them. Oh, really? They're telling you it's not the best for them, and you are telling them it's the best for them? No, I know better. But no, this is not what I want. No, but I know better. And I see this all the time. Somebody is trying to tell you, no, it's not for me. You have to give them their own space time. How would you like it if somebody told you you weren't perfect every single day of your life? How would you like it? It's horrible. So spirituality is also wonderful because it empowers us to be the divine beings we were born to be. We were born to be divine. All the masters tell us, every single master I know says, find the God within. Find the peace within. Find the love within. Every single one. Do you know any that says anything else? Well, there are those that say that and then pretend you have to be a size 8 or size 10 or size 6 in order to be a yogi. Unfortunately, this is the world today in yoga. Would you agree? And it's not about that. It's nothing to do with that. Spirit has nothing to do with that. It's nothing about that. Yes, it's always good to look nice, because we should look nice, because our bodies are a gift and we should look after them. But overlooking gives you an ego that's bigger than anything else. Underlooking is also makes you pathetic. You should look after your instrument like you should look after your house. This is your house. So we need to do both.